The story of Lucy Letby is one that shocked not only the United Kingdom, but the entire world. Not because of the crimes alone, but because of the unimaginable betrayal of trust involved. Lucy Letby was a neonatal nurse, a caregiver entrusted with the lives of the most vulnerable humans, newborn babies. Parents placed their infants in her care, believing their children were in safe hands, never imagining that someone they trusted could intentionally harm them. This case is not just about crime, it is about trust, deception, grief, and institutional oversight. It is a chilling reminder that sometimes danger hides in plain sight, even in the most sacred places where life begins. Lucy Letby was born and raised in the UK and trained as a nurse, eventually working in neonatal intensive care units, the NICU, where premature and critically ill infants are treated. She became a professional trusted by colleagues and parents alike, known for her calm demeanor and attention to detail. Yet, between 2015 and 2016, a pattern of disturbing events began to emerge at the Countess of Chester Hospital in Cheshire, England. An unusually high number of infant deaths and sudden, unexplained collapses occurred in the neonatal unit. Babies who had been medically stable suddenly deteriorated, leaving doctors and staff perplexed and concerned. The sheer frequency of incidents could not be explained by chance, given the size of the unit and typical patient outcomes. Initially, the hospital attempted to explain these deaths as tragic consequences of fragile health conditions common among premature and critically ill infants. However, as the incidents continued, staff began noticing an unnerving pattern. Many of the serious events and fatalities occurred during shifts when Letby was present. Investigations were quietly initiated within the hospital. Staff meetings were held, and suspicions grew. Some staff members raised concerns, but bureaucracy, denial, and the difficulty of confronting a colleague with potential culpability allowed the pattern to continue unnoticed for months. In 2018, police formally began their investigation, and Letby was arrested in a highly complex and sensitive operation. Detectives meticulously reviewed hospital records, comparing incidents, staffing schedules, and medical reports to identify correlations. The evidence revealed that Letby had been on duty for virtually every critical event in the unit during that period. Each case was reviewed in painstaking detail. Investigators analyzed infant deaths, resuscitations, sudden collapses, and medical anomalies, cross-referencing with Letby's shifts. The correlations were statistically striking, leaving law enforcement with a clear investigative lead. Letby had opportunity, presence, and a pattern of incidents connected to her actions. What followed was a detailed and exhaustive investigation. Police and forensic experts examined medical records, laboratory tests, staff notes, and hospital surveillance. Witness statements from colleagues were collected, providing insights into her behavior, interactions with patients, and any unusual actions. Expert witnesses in neonatal care and statistical analysis testified about the improbability of so many adverse events occurring coincidentally during Letby's shifts. It became increasingly clear that the unit had been affected by deliberate, harmful actions rather than unfortunate accidents. During this time, the families of the victims endured unimaginable grief. Parents had placed their trust in Letby, believing their infants were receiving expert care. They were unaware that the very person entrusted with their children's survival was responsible for harming them. Families experienced confusion, guilt, and heartache as investigations revealed the truth. Many parents struggled to comprehend the reality. Their beloved children had been intentionally harmed in a hospital, a place meant to nurture and protect. Public awareness of the case further amplified the emotional impact, as media coverage brought the human stories behind each statistic to the forefront. In 2023, after years of meticulous investigation and legal preparation, Lucy Letby was brought to trial. The prosecution presented evidence spanning hundreds of pages, demonstrating the consistent presence of Letby at the scene of each adverse incident. They outlined patterns in the timing, medical anomalies, and her actions during shifts. Each charge of murder and attempted murder was carefully supported with expert testimony, statistical analysis, and documentation from the NICU. The trial captivated the public, exposing the terrifying reality of crimes committed in a hospital environment, challenging assumptions about trust, and raising serious questions about institutional oversight. In August 2023, Lucy Letby was convicted of murdering 7 newborn babies and attempting to murder several more. She received multiple whole-life sentences, ensuring she will spend the remainder of her life in prison. The verdict provided law enforcement with confirmation of their long-held suspicions and offered a degree of justice for the families, though it could never undo the harm caused. The case drew attention to the failures and blind spots within hospital systems, prompting inquiries into how suspicions of wrongdoing could go unaddressed for so long. Public inquiry and reviews were launched to examine systemic issues in the NICU and the broader hospital environment. Investigators, healthcare administrators, and legal experts scrutinized the handling of prior warnings, oversight procedures, and staffing protocols. Questions were raised about why concerns raised by staff were not escalated and how statistical anomalies in patient outcomes were overlooked. This inquiry emphasized the need for rigorous monitoring, clear reporting mechanisms, and accountability in medical institutions to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The case also offered insight into human psychology and the complexity of trust. Letby's outward appearance was one of competence, empathy, and professionalism. Colleagues, parents, and investigators alike described her as calm, focused, and caring, attributes that made her effective as a nurse, but also allowed her to conceal her dark actions. Criminologists later studied the case to understand how individuals can compartmentalize aspects of their lives, maintaining a facade of normalcy while engaging in harmful behavior. The case demonstrates the potential for duplicity and the difficulty in detecting hidden malevolence, even in highly monitored professional environments. Beyond the legal and investigative narrative, the Lucy Letby case highlights societal reflections on vulnerability, trust, and institutional responsibility. Hospitals are expected to be safe spaces, yet this case revealed that vulnerabilities exist even within well-regulated environments. It prompted discussions on patient safety, staff accountability, whistleblower protections, and how organizations can respond effectively when suspicious patterns emerge. Internationally, the case sparked debates about monitoring neonatal units, analyzing statistical outliers in patient outcomes, and ensuring the protection of the most vulnerable populations. Ultimately, the Lucy Letby case is a story that forces us to confront unsettling truths. It reminds us of the fragility of life, the complexity of human behavior, and the enduring consequences of betrayal. It highlights the grief and courage of families who endured the unimaginable, the diligence of investigators who refused to accept coincidence, and the lessons learned about institutional vigilance and accountability. While justice has been served in court, the emotional and social scars left by this case continue to affect parents, staff, and communities. As we reflect on this harrowing story, we are reminded that behind every statistic and every headline, there are human lives, vulnerable, precious, and deserving of protection. The Lucy Letby case is more than a criminal investigation. It is a sobering lesson in trust, oversight, and the pursuit of justice. It is a reminder that vigilance, transparency, and accountability are essential, and that even in the most sacred spaces, human life can be imperiled when trust is violated. This case will remain a haunting chapter in modern medical and criminal history, offering lessons for families, healthcare professionals, and society at large, ensuring that the memory of the victims and the efforts to prevent future tragedies are never forgotten.